there. What up, though?
And we're live. Thank you, Defi.
Hey, thank you, Cristopolis. Shout out to the man. Much love, bro.
I appreciate you so much.
You too, man.
We're gonna get a chance now to jump into your career, your accomplishments, the show coming this Friday, everything. But I wanted to give people now and then also when this is later on YouTube, just a little bit of background on you, and then also like how I came across you. Defy is a hip hop artist and educator. He's from the Southwest, from the New Mexico area. He has an amazing flow. He's a very talented artist. He is, he's like your favorite rapper's favorite rapper type of artist.
Oh, man.
Truly spectacular. When I came across you, I think you only had 2 or 3 albums. You now have a catalog that's well over 10 albums, plus remix projects and collaborations that you've done. You're constantly touring, constantly doing workshops at universities all over. So I just wanted to make sure that people that are new to you could kind of understand that like you have a massive catalog out there. If you wanted to look it up, go to DEF-I on all digital streaming platforms, and you'll be treated to an amazing hip hop artist. So thank you, my bro, for joining us here on the Cristopolis Show. And, I wanted to give you the forum and just, take us back to like when you first started with music. When did you fall in love with music? Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think maybe the first time I started really becoming more immersed in like hip hop music was at a very younger age. My next door neighbors actually were rapping a little bit, and that was when I was living in Albuquerque, here where I'm at now currently, in Tiwa territory. And basically, I moved to Shiprock, New Mexico at a younger age, which is where I'm from, at the Dead Nation, is where the tribe I represent, and became neighbors with my good homie named Gabe. And actually, he started to make beats first, I think, and I think even before, like way back when digital downloads started to become prevalent across online platforms. I think that's when, instrumentals were out and about, and I just would always be into buying like the records that had an instrumental side to it, so I could like try my own version eventually with my brother Shane and my best friend Wake too. So we became like all immersed at the same time. I joined this all indigenous, all elements hip hop crew titled FOF, Foundations of Freedom. And we started to grow from that point on. I would enter battles. I started out at poetry slams, basically, just combining with that with my love for music. I also played the drums in a few bands. So I think that's what really started it off, and attending a lot of these battles, cultural, like B-boy, B-girl battles, like a lot of different kinds of beats involved there, like different BPMs that kind of helped me love more than just what most MCs kind of tend to rap on, like the 80s, 90s BPM, especially in that era. So like being more immersed in other events really helped me kind of like expand a little bit more. Yeah.
That kind of explains a lot too, the fact that you play the drums, and also because the way you rap is very rhythmic. So it's like it feels like percussion on top of the beat, more so than most rappers. Like you're like in the pocket, all over the pocket, rhymes inside of rhymes. It's a very special flow that you have. That's a interesting background.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
You're welcome. The first album, when does that come about in this process? Who were you working with at that time? Where was it recorded? Who did the production?
Damn, the first album I think we did wasn't even pressed, but the first pressed album that we did, it came with like a huge collaboration with mostly production from my good homie named Percy Wells. He's based out here in New Mexico, and he's done a lot of production on even more of my recent works too, which we could talk about in a bit. But he was one of our good friends. We met way back then, and with Wake Self and with a lot of other collaborators at the time. I think we just started out that point, I think there was a few beats from Smoke M2D6 of Old Dominion, who I really collaborate with a lot now, more frequently. And I actually did a lot of the beats on my earlier releases. I also like loved making beats and just the process of beat making, how therapeutic it is, and but also like even though it is time consuming and adding extra time, it was just like I fell in love with just like making beats and then writing to them afterwards. But uh, yeah, man, I think along the lines of like the timeline, we recorded most of the album in a lot of hotel rooms actually, because we would tour a lot back then, but we didn't really have like studio time to spare. So while we were just on our travels, just bring the mobile setup and just set up shop somewhere in a hotel room. So most of the albums at that time were just created in a lot of the closets. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I am doing research and preparing to meet with you today. I didn't know this before. Like I just love your flow, and I love how dope it is and but I didn't realize that you were a producer also. And that's what I started to figure that out, like, through like different things that I figured out in the research. When you produce, what software do you normally use?
Damn, way back, started out with FL1, but then eventually worked on MPCs and mostly through Reason. And then I kind of stopped my production career, if you will, because I did actually produce a lot for myself, but also a lot of other artists too. But I stopped making beats around Reason, and then kind of started working with other producers from then
Yeah.
on.
So most of your albums now, you're working with producers. You're not actually doing the production on it.
Correct. Yeah. Lately I've been just working with other beat makers,
Yeah.
other producers.
Yeah, I'm such a hip hop head that I love loops. Like you find like a cool loop, or you find like, and it's I like it. But there's people that are so good at producing that it's like, why even mess with it? Just focus on, in your case, on what you do so well with the performance and the lyrics. Um, so let's walk through the timeline because I think your first album was like 2010.
Yeah, it was a while
Yeah.
back. That was quite a way
Yeah, you've
back.
been in the
Yeah.
game for a minute. So like 2010, and then you had like I think like a 13 album, and then I've came across you in the 2016 album, which is called, I believe, like Raising Arrows, I believe it's
Oh,
called.
Shields for Raining Arrows. Yeah.
Shields for Raining Arrows. Yeah, that's where like I found out about you like around that time, and was like, man, this kid is different. Like he's really dope, and your flow was spectacular. But you've been so busy after that, like in 2019, 2020, 2021, you've just been releasing sometimes multiple albums in a year. Um, did something happen, that like you basically say like, I'm going to double down on music, or did you kind of get a team around you, or because you became, you were already really productive, but you became more prolific.
That's a great question. I think what happened around then was like I just got more serious with it with my best bro Wake Self, and he actually risen up. And when he went on, I think it really um, mo somehow, even through the healing process of dealing with him going onward, and I think I had to just keep putting it all down because um, it really helped me get through it all, I guess you would say. So like while I was healing through it all, the more music I made, that kind of helped me stay in a good space mentally, spiritually. So I think just that helped me stay prolific as well. My older brother too went on, and I think like we did one album together too, which isn't really released, but I think just having my closest partners, I feel like they're still with us. So like a huge part of my creative process is like just still being, um, I don't know, I'm still healing right now, but I think that's probably one motivation there. And just my love for the craft, my love for hip hop, my love for culture, and just like being motivated by other collaborators, the camaraderie when I meet other MCs, other producers, dancers and artists, I think that really helps inspire me too. So just the cross pollination and the mutual, like, how would I say, just the mutual exchange, I guess, of good energy and vibes. It's definitely helped me continue to pursue releasing more projects and just also stay motivated and just stay happy. So that's a good question. But I think all of that combined together is what really kind of helped me push forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know about Wake Self, and I'm sorry that you went through that. You've definitely I think helped a lot of people probably through your music and the fact that you're kind of putting that out in a positive way because you've got a lot of people who love your music. Um, uh, so currently, officially, how many like full length albums do you have out?
And currently, I think maybe, I know there's over 10, maybe like 12 to 15, somewhere around there. I think there's
Yeah,
about that much out
yeah.
there. Maybe a little bit more. Well, I was also a part of a quartet at one time, and we dropped the album.
What was
It's
the name
not
of
titled
the
under,
quartet?
it was a Dat. It was supposed to be Defy and the Delbert Anderson trio, but we kind of just parted ways, but we had a good run.
Yeah, were they like a live band?
Yeah, it was mostly like jazz, fusion, hip hop
That's
based.
dope.
It
Yeah.
was dope. It was dope. Yeah, it's cool to. It's
Yeah,
nothing like having live instrumentation for real.
I remember seeing, yeah, I remember that's actually triggering memory. I remember seeing like on your page at some point in time, you had a cool setup with some live instrumentation.
Yeah,
And I was like, because with that, man, you could tour everywhere.
exactly. Yeah, you can different pockets. You having a DJ one night and then your live band. It's like it really helps us like as artists to like stay versatile and be able to not just rock with a DJ, but if you can have a band with you. But it is kind of tough to maintain. Yeah, as we know, I guess a lot of time.
Well, and I've worked with bands before, and I know a lot of like musician friends. It's personalities too, right? So it's kind of like people's schedules is one thing, people's drive, and then just different personalities is like a lot to manage. That's one of the things that's interesting about hip hop artists. They can show up with the tracks and they can rock it out. You know what I'm saying? So like if they're motivated, like there's not that much that can stop them. When you get a lot more people involved, there's like logistics. Um,
Yeah.
uh, you, you're really versatile. You could rap on music at different BPMs. You could do live instrumentation. Um, you can do spoken word. Um, what do you see yourself doing kind of more moving in the future? Do you want to continue to perform, with yourself over tracks? Would you like to see yourself moving into something with more live instrumentation? What would be something that's like kind of like your goal for your live performance?
I think with the live performance future, I think I'd love to maybe get back more into live instrumentation, working with the band. That would be nice. Also, try to release more. I would try to release a book soon, I think. So I know that's sometimes not so much. Well, I need to add more versatile. I think in terms of being versatile, like having at least a book too would be nice because I have a lot of bars that I've recorded and just a lot of albums that maybe even guest features too could be even put into one anthology or something like that with some memoirs or something.
Mm,
But I think that would be good to add so because a lot of times at my performances I'm just going straight rapping straight up the whole way and it would be kind of cool to take a moment to breathe and like maybe tell a story from the book or something like that,
mm,
or read a piece or something like that. Because I always enjoy like a cappella parts of anyone's performance as well
yeah.
as a fan and as a performer. So I maybe including a little bit more um, like intimate, like and being able to be more vulnerable is what I mean, like
Mm,
during that, and then allowing some time between the songs, I guess, is something I would like to include in the future, and possibly like a dancer or two, because like it'd be cool to work with um, more multidisciplinary artists out there too that are really talented, and there's so many, even here in New Mexico too.
yeah.
So, but shout out to all artists for everywhere.
Yeah. I think that that's an amazing idea. You know, you you're not just a rapper that performs in a hip hop club. You know, you're in academia where you're doing workshops and you're doing motivational speaking. You're also giving
Hmm.
classes on recording and beat making in addition to your performances. So I think that, you know, like a book with the spoken word. And the other thing that you have is that, like you know, I love hip hop. I've grown up my whole life listening to hip hop. So I can actually listen and pick up most of what you're saying, even when you're
Yeah,
doing fast rapping. But a lot of
right, of
people
course.
can't. And what they're blown away by is the intricacy of the multisyllabic rhymes, right? Like the rhyme patterns and the flow, the pauses, how you're writing the beat, which is spectacular. That's a talent in and of itself. But you have really dope lyrics. You know what I mean? So I think that in a spoken word environment, even pieces that you have, and if you just slowed it down in a spoken word style, right? Because the flow that you do is dope. Don't stop that. You know what I mean? But if you were to like slow it down, that could be really cool too. In an anthology with an album connected, that sounds like a great idea, bro. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Thanks for sparking the inspiration too, because like sometimes we're just so much on the go in the work in progress that we kind of don't see the 5 years ahead marks yet, you know, but it's
Mhm.
important to always look ahead. So thank you, man, for it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely, bro. Let's talk about some of the stuff that you do in academia, you know, like the workshops that you hold and things like that. First of all, like anybody watching this or for a short later, if somebody wants to hire you, whether it's for a hip hop performance or to bring you to a university or to work with kids in schools, how do they contact you? What's the best way?
The best way to contact through, for me is probably through email at definitionrare@gmail.com. That's probably the easiest way. So it's just no spaces, no capitals, just definitionrare@gmail.com. And I'll respond pretty quickly, especially, well, actually, that is the best way because the other email tend to get spammed out a little
I
bit
know
too
what you
much.
mean.
So,
Yeah,
yeah. So
cool.
just definitionrare@gmail.com or else my website is just def-i.com.
Yeah, there's like a little contact button on there.
Yes. Yeah, there is.
So when you go to universities, what are some of the main workshops and things that you're doing?
From the universities, I think over the years, I really specialized a lot more in creative writing workshops,
Mm,
and that could be from an hour to a couple hours, and also just the fundamentals of hip hop culture seen through like an indigenous lens. I tend to share a lot of the similarities, symbolism, and like harmonies that are shared between hip hop culture and then my traditional Diné
mhm,
heritage. So usually there's an overview with that. Sometimes if there's more time after the creative writing workshops, we'll do a song recording workshop. And usually I'd like to have students leave with like a song or at least a verse
mm.
recorded down and a deeper overstanding or understanding of hip hop and just how it relates with a lot of indigenous cultures as well. And with that, sometimes I'll do like a rap demo or maybe even a set too along with it. So
Mhm.
I do love to present and to do workshops, but also usually like to pair it with a live performance. And if there's usually an artist with me, beat maker, sometimes another dancer, but try to include others too to help demonstrate or showcase more of the other elements of hip hop as it in live in action, I guess you would say, for students and staff members.
Yeah, I love how you talked about, you know, to the combination of having hip hop, but then looking at it through an indigenous lens. And I find that really interesting because, you know, I had the experience that when I was like in high school, I went to Latin America and I was blown away by the fact that like there was like a vibrant hip hop scene over there that was its own thing, you know. And then, you know, as time has gone on, hip hop truly is global. And different places have variations on hip hop, but they're kind of all staying true to the core elements. What, you know, if you could share with us a little bit in your experience, What are some of the like the indigenous lens, as you mentioned? What are some of the similarities, or how, what's the interpretation from your personal life experiences, and then as a hip hop artist, how those two fuse, where they meet?
Yeah, I always like show this infograph that was drawn out by my younger brother Joshua Mike Bitta, and he in that infograph it showcases kind of like how hip hop and our indigenous traditional how cultural heritages kind of all connect through the circle of life, and how the dances connect through the also through the art, visual arts, how MCs could be seen as like modern day storytellers,
Mm.
and also the DJs, and like how it kind of first began with the drums first, and how um, for me personally, like every tribe is different, but for me as a Diné person, for instance, like we believe like we're surrounded by four sacred mountains, and like we be rapping on four time signatures. There's like four sacred clans that we all like introduce ourselves with, and four main elements to hip hop. So like a lot of
Mm.
this number four is very prevalent in the cultures, and just like kind of just showcase that, and how we also believe there's like four worlds we're living in, and hip hop is like amazing too, because I think we kind of related, and as far as like personally in my experience too, like we're very kind of been oppressed a lot too. So hip hop kind of helps us transcend and gave us a platform to rise above a lot of these adversities that we grow up in out in the rural areas and the reservations and smaller places in the villages, without having much technology or being able to have these opportunities. At least there was hip hop there to be able for people to have a positive outlet that's creative, if you will, like so people can relate to the dance, and a lot of like the up rock that I see like within a lot of the dancers and moves kind of can relate to a lot of ancient moves too. I just try to share like the positive parts about it, and especially with the elders too. A lot of times when I'm presenting, the elders kind of they haven't seen or experienced hip hop in that way. As sometimes they just kind of see it just from the radio or just from the rap point of view, and they don't see the whole entire culture or experience that yet. So I just try to share it in a positive light in that way. There's a lot more to it, but those are some of the similarities and stuff that I think that are shared, and it's dope to see um, the elders kind of open up a little bit more, open their minds and hearts to hip hop. And because a lot of times I'm out in these places where it's more traditional, so it's cool to just travel out though and be active all the time in that way, presenting or performing.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
You are quite active. You've always got stuff happening on your calendar. You're probably one of the most active touring artists from the Southwest. Um, uh, uh, Hats off to you. And I want the gigs to keep coming. You have a gig. There's a show this Friday at the 11th annual gathering of the MCs right there in Albuquerque. Have you performed at this before?
Oh yeah, actually, I'm the person who kind of helped co-found the Gathering of MCs years ago, and love putting it together. It's grown each year. It's
Mm.
also a great platform that helps uplift other voices too. There's a lot of artists coming out from across the country, so I'm excited about it. It's going to be happening this year. Is actually the first multi-day event, so starts this Thursday.
Mm.
Be having a beat battle there, and also a release party, with the idea of putting this event together annually. Also sparked like another idea to create a cipher series. So we'll be
Mm.
releasing music on Friday right at midnight New York time, but it'll basically be 10 p.m. our time on Thursday. So at the beat battle, we'll be dropping some singles there. Right now, it's almost at 100 MCs that are featured on this cipher series from all
Whoa.
over. So it's dope to like just hear the ciphers, and shout out to I think who else did it was like a great inspiration for this idea too was also K Slay when he did the like 50 or 100 MCs um, release. I forgot exactly what it was called, but that
No, no,
shit's
I know what you're
amazing.
talking about.
Yeah,
I, you know,
crazy.
rest in peace, K Slay. That was just like the 1 year anniversary of his passing. But I'm not sure if K Slay did it. He may have done it, but I heard about a similar project, which was Tony Touch,
Oh, yo, that's
right?
true. That's true.
Tony
He did
Touch had
it
done
way
50
back.
MCs.
Yeah.
I remember I got that tape way back in the day, and it was crazy. So this is kind of
So
like a homage to that. It's like paying,
homage, yeah.
yeah. But you have 100 MCs.
Almost, yeah, almost.
Woo!
Not on one
Yeah,
track,
yeah.
not, but it's,
Like verses.
maybe like, yeah, maybe like 8 to 10 MCs per song, I
Hmm.
think. About that, yeah.
That's dope. How do people find that when it drops?
Uh, Basically, you could just type gathering of MCs and it should pop up if what on your favorite streaming platform. If you just type in gathering of MCs, there'll be a list. Right now, there's currently 3 songs that are out, so these will be another 4 or 5 that are going to be released this Thursday at 10 p.m. Mountain Time. And then
That's dope.
the main event is on Friday for the main gathering of MCs freestyle rap tournament and best 16 bars competition,
Yeah.
as well as the intertribal showcase. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Tell us more about the intertribal showcase. What does that mean, and who's in that?
Yeah, so intertribal rap showcase. Intertribal is basically, I got the idea of that from going to a lot of powwows. And so right around this weekend of this exact time, the last weekend of April, there's a big powwow that happens here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it brings thousands of people. A lot of tourists come into Albuquerque. And so at a powwow, if you go there, there's this part of the powwow where they title it intertribal, and anybody can come out and dance during that time. So you can be a fancy shawl dancer, jingle dress, traditional grass dancer. There's so many different styles of dance, but during the intertribal part, basically anybody can come out and dance their style. So I kind of like wanted to uh, included that title into the raps because there's so many different styles of
Yeah.
rap. So intertribal means anybody can come out and get down and showcase. So people of all different places are coming out. So that's kind of the idea of the meaning of intertribal rap showcase. And it is what it is, like a showcase, just a lot of artists coming out to do their best sets, probably 10 to 15 minutes each. There's a lot of MCs, so do the best we can
Yeah.
with that
Yeah, I
time.
saw, and building up for our interview, I came across on the flyer. So I'm in LA. I'm in LA now, but I'm originally from DC. And you've got
So,
Enoch, the Seventh Prophet, from
yo, yeah,
DC on
Enoch.
there. That's my boy. And I wrote him.
Oh
I was
man,
like, "Yo, you gonna be at this?" And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Defi's my boy." So
so
that's cool. How many total MCs, approximately, are at the Gathering of MCs show this Friday?
this Friday there's probably going to be about, my guess, 30 to 50 MCs that will be there in attendance from all across, from the East Coast to the West Coast, and even a lot of northern relatives that are in Canada will be coming down
Wow.
as well. We're excited about it. It's growing more. And shout out to Vel9. She's from LA. She'll be coming out. And shout out to Enoch Seventh Prophet and King C will be there
Yeah,
too from the East. Yeah.
that's cool, man. That's an awesome show. That's amazing that you put that together. Um, we talked about a little bit about an idea you have for like putting together an anthology book, and you just released an album, like in around August, September. Um, it's called Edges of Water,
Or Water Edges. Yeah,
Water
Water
Edges.
Edges.
Yeah. How was that? How was it? You've been so busy. Like we talked about that 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. You've released so much great music. You want to talk a little bit about your most recent album?
Yeah, it's the most recent album is titled Water Edges. It's out now. It's mostly produced by Smoke M2D6. Shout out to him from Old Dominion Crew. They're based in the Northwest, and There's also a song produced by Da Vinci, aka Glitter Whale. That's the final song on there. There's a song for the Gathering of MCs, Savages, featuring a wide array of artists from all across Turtle Island, such as Tumex and Abstract Rude and many others on there. It's got cuts from DJ Element. It's probably one of my best works thus far. I do have two new albums that are coming out soon. One this summer and maybe one this fall. Yeah.
My bro, you're prolific. That is awesome.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, just stay working as much as I can. I took a little break though. I've been like just trying to relax and just enjoy this couple tour dates lately.
Yeah.
Just not do so much because these events happening this week are gonna be pretty big. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and you wanna enjoy it too, right? All the people, and there's probably like a lot of details that people don't know about that you have to handle, to make sure everything
Yeah,
goes smoothly too, right? It's different to host an event than just show up and do your set. Um,
exactly.
that
Exactly.
that's awesome. This event that you're doing, the Gathering of MCs, is an awesome event. It's awesome for hip hop. I'm sure it's awesome for Albuquerque and the community there. That's spectacular. Um, you mentioned that you've got two more projects that you're working on, and I want to jump into that. But one of the things that I don't want to forget is, and I came across this, I came across a lot of videos of you freestyling. You're a dope freestyle artist. I mean, you're one of those dudes that literally, like, you could get on stage and people could start pointing out items, and you're just like, incorporating everything that they're doing. As a true talent. It's like a muscle also. Like, you got to do it often and all the time to keep that muscle strong. Um, is there for you a big difference, when you're live on stage and you're coming off the top of the head versus your written rhymes when you sit down with the beat and you put together a song? What are the differences for you?
Yeah, there's sometimes big differences. Sometimes it's like freestyles, it first takes the best, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think having time to edit, revise, it definitely helps as far as like songwriting goes. So other artists out there, I definitely encourage to write bars down or and practice, memorize. But it is dope to also just be in the moment and just go off the top and allow yourself to your creativity to expand in that moment and not have to overthink and not have to second guess yourself. So that's what I love about freestyling. Those differences there sometimes can be subtle. Sometimes you'll notice huge difference in your writing or freestyling, but like you said, practicing every day, it definitely helps keep yourself tuned up, at least to the point where you're comfortable and confident with expressing yourself in that way live too. Um, Definitely from unrehearsed to more memorized songs. I think like there's definitely you can tell in a
Hmm.
lot of people, but I gotta give hats off to artists who can do both or who can sometimes even just go in the studio and just go in right there. I
Yeah.
give respect to that too, because that's another gift or muscle right there.
Yeah.
Salute.
Yeah. No, I've been in the studio before with some artists that are just spectacular, and they literally, like, will write on the spot, and it's almost, they don't even write the whole thing. They almost write like bullet points, and then they just go in and do it. It's the wildest thing when you're around somebody
That
like
is
that.
wild.
You mentioned that you're planning on a couple of projects coming up. Do you know what order they're being released in? Do you have, like, you kind of have an idea of what the next album that you're going to be releasing is?
I think the next one I'm going to release is probably going to be the album that I've been working on most recently. Uh, it's mostly produced by Smoke as well, and I'm definitely most vulnerable in this new album.
Mm,
The beats knock, but I'm definitely opening myself up to, as we mentioned earlier, just the healing process, if you will, of just kind of just coping and being able to grow and heal and evolve. So this new album that I got is probably, I think, my best work in that way. Definitely the enunciation, the beats, the patterns, the rhymes definitely are stepped up more. And I have another album with my buddy Philip Drummond. He does all the beats on there, and there's no guest features on that one. It's just him and I on that one. I think that's all ready. We just need album artwork and some videos to go with this with the music. So, but people are going to be able to get a taste of the album this Thursday when the music drops with the release
Oh,
party. They'll have so one or two of the singles will be from there. There's also another album with Percy Wells that I got out, and one of the singles will be released this Thursday from it too.
oh, that's dope. So basically, if you want to hear unreleased music, show up on Thursday.
Yep, yep.
Oh man,
Or just
that's
download it too. If you can't make it, you could still download.
yeah. Yeah. You mentioned, for the album that you've got done, that you're, kind of putting the final touches on like the artwork and doing the visuals, right? I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit because the artwork that you have for a lot of your albums, it's really, really dope and unique. You have the album covers where you've incorporated aspects of indigenous culture, right? And then you have some newer ones where like they're kind of futuristic and different also. But you put a lot into that. For the ones that have the indigenous influence, is there a specific artist that you're working with? How do you make that? I mean, the imagery is so dope for a lot of those albums that you have, that are kind of like not the last three, like two or three albums, but some of the earlier ones. You had very indigenous artwork that was beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, I think those artists are, I think, Randy Boogie. You could check him out online. He was we're part of FOF crew together. My younger brother Joshua Mike Bitta, he did some of the covers. Chad Yellowjohn, he did one too. See who else. Those are pretty much the main three
Yeah,
that artists that I work with on the covers.
yeah.
Shout out to them. Yeah. Also, my good bro Nosy 42. He did a couple of my albums too as well. So love the album artwork. I love art in general. So like, yeah, definitely the cover arts. It's special to us for sure. So,
Oh, 100%. And then, so the more recent albums, like the new album, Water Edges, and 2021 album, who did that artwork?
Water Edges was done by my younger brother Joshua Mike Bitta is his name, or Joshua Mike Beats. He also goes by, or Joshua Lawrence
Mm,
Productions.
mm.
He did those. And then Nosy 42, he did some of the ones with Ariano, and he did a couple of the others.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, talented family, bro.
Oh, thanks, bro. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, yeah. And then for the visuals, who do you work with? Because you got really dope music videos also. Who are you working with for a lot of your visuals? Um, to what extent are you working with a director and they've got the idea, or do you have a lot of the idea, then you connect with somebody and make it happen? How does it work, because the video is such an important part nowadays. You record a whole album, but then you need the visuals to accompany it, and you've got really dope visuals. What's that process like for you, and who are some of the people you're working with?
I definitely got a good team thanks to the good local community here in New Mexico. So I mostly work with my good bro Ill Alien, aka Carlos Martinez, Maurice, aka Lionel Johnson. Together, like those two dudes definitely helped me out so much. I think who else have I worked with? My good buddy Emilio Torrado, I think how you say his last name. He's out in the East Coast, but he helped out a lot too. They definitely are the main key directors, editors, and videographers that I've been teaming up with.
Mm, mm.
Shout out to them.
And what's the next video that you're working on?
The next one is going to be from the new album. It's still not titled yet, but I mean, there's going to be like at least like 4 or 5 videos we're going to try to roll out with the new one. So I'm starting on that soon. After this week for sure, because the gathering of MCs is like the main event that I have to prepare for
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, no, that event is spectacular, and I'm lucky to have caught you and to have this time with you, especially during a period of time where you've got a lot going on. I wanted to make sure that we got a chance to plug, the gathering of MCs one more time before we wrap. Where can people get tickets? Where can they find out about it? Where is it going to happen? What are the different times that people could show up for the Thursday event and then for the Friday event?
Yo, thanks. So Thursday, you can get tickets for both of these events on my bio. You can just tap the link there. Thursday, the Beat Battle and Release Party will be at Albuquerque here at Launchpad at 8 p.m. Friday, the meet and greet with the Vel 9 and all of the artists will be at 6 p.m. Friday, Albuquerque, New Mexico at Launchpad. Both venues are the same this year, and it's the 11th annual. We're going to be giving out cash prizes and free clothing to winners and attendees. So anybody who comes out, gets tickets, can also receive some free gear, as well as enjoy a dope night of dope MCs coming from all across the country. So we're thankful for the platform, thankful to hip hop, thankful to you, Cristopolis. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, brother. And right as we wrap, what I always like to do is just, some off the cuff questions that kind of let people know a little bit more about you, that's a little bit outside of your music and just your career. I think people find it interesting, fun, so outside of hip hop, who are maybe, 4 or 5 not MCs. I'm so on the hip hop, but who are maybe four or 5 artists? And it doesn't matter what genre that you love, the music that you listen to that is outside of hip hop.
Okay. Hey, damn, that's a good question. Let me think. 4 artists outside of hip hop. Damn, I've got to think about this because there's a lot of different genres out there. But right now, currently, I've been listening to some of my classical friends that I've been teaming up with. My friend Renata, Yazi, Connor Chi. They're really dope Diné composers, and they create amazing music on the piano. So I've been listening to them a lot. It's been cool to hear their fusion and how they include traditional indigenous music into today's classical forms. So they're really dope. Actually, I got to shout both of them out. They're making a lot of dope music. I just listen to hip hop so much too that I can't really think of so many others. I'm just I love MCs, I love DJs, I love producers. Could give so many shout outs to hip hop artists. But outside of hip hop, let me think of a couple others. My friend Olivia Comachi, she's really dope. If you haven't heard of her yet, she's a dope multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, and she's really dope on the guitar. I got to give her a shout out. Olivia Comachi, check her out. She's up and coming and got a lot of dope music on the way. Let me think of one more artist. So 3, one more. Man, outside of hip hop.
See, I'm just I'm a hip hop head. So it's I'm always in that pocket, but I love music.
Same way. Man, I just got to shout out my homie Jer Anderson too. I've been listening to him and his band, and they put on for a lot of others with the Native Guitars tour. So I got to give them a shout out. They're dope. My homie CQ, the drummer, he's dope out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He does make hip hop beats, but he's also a Grammy Award winning drummer alongside this group called El Dusty, and they do I would cumbia,
I know about El Dusty.
kind of vibes, and he's their main drummer and percussionist. He's based here in Albuquerque, so shout out to him. He brings in a lot of other vibes, not just hip hop.
Yeah, that's dope.
CQ.
So keep it on giving people a little bit more insight into you. Maybe 1 or 2 books or movies that you recommend that you like that are kind of your vibe.
That's a good one. Lately, I've just been reading Rakim and Raekwon's book. So Raekwon's got a book from Staircase to Stage. I forgot Rakim's book, but I've been reading those lately. Recommend those. Movie-wise, recently, I've been wanting to check out this new movie it's not out yet, but it's called Res Ball, and it's going to be on Netflix. It's about some native basketball teams, and I guess that it's a story. It'll be out soon, so check that out.
I'm gonna look for that. That's dope. They should have had you on the soundtrack.
I know,
We need to reach. We
right?
need to
Maybe you
reach out
never
to
know. Yeah,
Netflix.
yeah, you never know. Like I do know the director for it. She's done like the Reservation Dogs and a couple others. So you never know. Maybe I might try to reach out. But good
Absolutely,
idea.
absolutely, brother. Um, 2, 3 producers, that you vibe with that are well-known producers that you're like, I love that sound, or I grew up listening to that sound.
That's dope. That's a dope question. I've always been a fan of like Alchemist and Madlib. I think maybe off the mind. I mean, shoot, I really dig their production and they're very prolific as well. So shout out to them
Yeah,
too. I guess
yeah,
off the mind.
yeah. Alchemist at the top of the game right now.
It's crazy, man. How he's like, yeah, he just keeps putting out dope beats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is amazing.
releases,
And then no,
and he can
there's
spit
probably
fire too. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. He does. He does. He's rapping. You heard the one that he did with Hit Boy, where they rap over each other's beats.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. His new freestyle on Sway was crazy too. So that was
Mm.
dope.
And then last
Yeah.
question, I often end up with this, especially when I'm talking to a dope MC. Um, Top 5 dead or alive. What's your top 5 hip hop artists of all time,
Yeah.
dead or alive?
Top five. Um, that's a really good question there too. You got me.
5
Top
is
five.
hard because I
Yeah.
can name 10, but 5 is hard because you got to start eliminating people.
Yeah. This could take a while. Like, and it could change, you know what I mean, by tomorrow. Cause like there's so many dope MCs in constant rotation. But let me
Yeah.
think. Top five. Um, hmm. I gotta give a shout out to like maybe top five. I love Rakim, you know what I mean?
I
Just
love
always
Rakim.
Rakim as far as like having someone to always like hear a track from or the albums and it's dope. Ah, bro. I love Big Pun too, man. I love Big
Mm,
Pun.
mm.
Uh Micah Nine. I love Micah Nine. I really love Percy P. Patterson Projects.
Yeah, people don't know about Percy P. They sleep on Percy P. Shout out Percy P.
Master Ace. I love Master Ace too.
Yeah.
Eminem might be one of them, and Kendrick Lamar if I were to give an extra one. I mean, I love all of those artists. And
Oh, that's a
there's so
spectacular
much more though. I
fire.
can't like. I'll probably have a different list tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
But
I
that's
hear
it.
you. I hear you. But
Yeah,
those are great artists.
yeah.
Definitely, I appreciate this time with you.
Appreciate you, man.
You're a spectacular artist. It is an honor to have you on here. I wish you nothing but success. And crush it this weekend, man. On Thursday and Friday, I hope that the gathering of MCs is a tremendous success. And I hope we could do this again sometime in the future.
I'd love to, man. Thank you, Cristopolis, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro. Peace.
Much love, fam. Peace.